our pastor of the church, his mother met your father, which, yes, yes.
So would you say that again about who you hope to have it renovated so that there a number of the people who originally were students here?
Yes, will be able to enjoy the center once it's renovated.
And they're still living in the community?
They're still living in the community, yes.
Oh, that's great.
Yes. So to start out in here, before it got converted to a private home, this was one of the classrooms, but you have to come in here. They put this wall partition up, this wall, to make it more of a living.
This wall?
area, this wall here.
But this was all one room?
This was all one room. This was built as a 2-room schoolhouse. And so it used to have 2 teachers. One teacher was teaching here, and the other one was teaching there. But as years went on, and I guess there were less and less students, it became a one-teacher schoolhouse.
What age students went here?
Well, it started from the 1st grade, because back in the day, there was no middle school. So this was an elementary school, so you went to this school until you went to high school, which would have been, in the olden days, a training school. But
that's what Georgia did. Georgia went to nurse training school. Yes.
Yes. You know Miss Bernice Mitchell?
Yeah, well, yes.
You do. She went to Alma training school after she finished this school.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So this school was like from the 1st grade to no kindergarten back in the day. 1st grade to the 7th, I think it was. And then you started high school at the 8th grade, or your training school at the 8th grade. And so this would have been one room, originally, one classroom.
And where did the teachers come from?
That's our teacher when I was here, which would have been Mrs. Claus. She lived right down in Lindsay. But as Ms. Mitchell would tell you, that there was a husband and wife team that came from Philadelphia, I think. And they lived here. They lived with Mr. and Mrs. Ragland.
This is Mr. and Mrs.
Willie Ragland. He used to own the cash corner store.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought Early Chapman owned that.
Yeah, this was years
before. Long
before Early.
Okay.
There were previous owners, black owners. Always been a black owned business. Always been a black owned. Cash corner has always, as far as I can remember, being a black owned business. And the first person I know to have owned that store was Willie Ragland.
Okay.
Mr. and Mrs. Willie Ragland. His wife's name was Natalie.
And that would have been 19...
That would have been, I went in the 50s, so I know he had it in the 50s. He owned it in the 50s. And then other owners started to own it. And so that's one of the original doors that came off one of these doors in here. We didn't have running water, of course. We didn't have electricity. But when the private owners came in, they installed all of that type of stuff.
Oh.
Created a bathroom and stuff.
Oh, so, but you didn't have a bathroom?
No, we didn't have bathrooms. We didn't have electric lights. And that kind of takes me back as to why these schools are so unique. It's the windows. One of the things are the unique of the Rosenwald School are the windows, because when the school was designed, the reason the schools were being designed so that we would have better lighting, and so it was important that the school faced the sun in the morning, so they were always built so the sunlight would be coming in the morning. And see, this was a classroom, and this would have been where the light would have been coming in the morning, because we didn't have electricity, we didn't have running water, and we didn't have heat. We heated a stove, a pot boiler stove was right here, and it was coal that was kept underneath the house, underneath the school. As you see now, where they're digging out. That's where.
Like the church. That's why the church burned down.
Really?
Yeah. They burned down to the ground in 1895.
What church is this?
Grace Church.
Grace Church. Oh, really?
And Mr. Chandler's insurance policy that nobody knew he had, which they were able to rebuild it in 1 year.
Wow.
On top of all that rock and rubble that,
Wow.
yeah.
Really? Oh my
Can you
God.
can you imagine doing anything in 1 year right now?
No. Wow.
We want to give credit to the hands that did that work.
Yes. Jesus. They were working really hard.
Yeah.
And that's a rock church. Yeah.
Well, and Marika and you know, Ashley, we were in there. I showed them. You wouldn't have believed it. You never know.
Wow.
You never know what's underneath till you take all this stuff down.
Oh my God. Yes. And so that was the main thing, the design. In fact, the first architect for these buildings was a black man from Tuskegee University. His name was Robert Taylor. As years went by, after Booker T died, because he died in 1915, things started to convert because
Does he have to go?
yeah, things started to convert, and they got another architect to redesign. But the original design was large windows, spacious schoolrooms, classrooms, high ceilings for better ventilation, and rooms for storage for books and supplies and things like that, and coats. This was considered a storage room.
Where did all the books and supplies come from?
They came, we got used leftover white school. We would get books and we'd send them stamped, you know, like Salesman school or wherever the white schools were. So our books came. The unique part about it too is that once these schools were built, once the community and the funds from Rosenwald School were built, they had to be turned over to the state. And so the state had to sustain them. They owned these schools and they sustained them by giving us books, teachers, making sure we had teachers. And at some point in time, because when my mother went to the school, there were no buses, there was no transportation, they walked. But by the time I came in, we had transportation.
In the 50s?
In the 50s, yes, in the 50s.
So when did it stop being an active school?
In the 50s sometime, around 51, 52. I was among the last two classes to go to the school before it closed down.
And then there was an integration in 1950. No?
Not for this. It didn't close because of integration. It closed because of low attendance. And so once we left this school, we went to that school up in Keswick. That's not a Rosenwald school, but it is a black school, but it was still an integrated school.
Okay.
So we went to it was called Keswick Elementary School.
Okay.
And so that's where we went. But once integration started, I was in high school by the time integration started. And so I was in the 11th grade, getting ready to go to the 12th grade when we had the option of staying where we were or going to an integrated school. And so that had to be, I graduated 64, so that had to be around 63, 62, 63 when that actually happened for us. So this would have been a cloakroom. This now, what we plan for this room is more or less a computer room. It's also going to be where we have memorabilia and historical stuff.
Pictures.
Yes, so that's what we would like to do.
Well, I hope everybody's saving those pictures.
Yes, yes.
My sister go to school with me, but she said that she had a choice when it was integrated. Yeah.
Yes, she probably lived early though.
Yes.
Yeah,
She said she had
yeah,
the option of going
Right.
to
Yes.
the school, and they chose not to.
Not to, yeah, I chose not to go to.
Or
because of
she
my
said mom
city
and dad
class.
gave them the option.
Yes, yes. And so this wall is coming down because, no, not this wall. This wall is coming down.
So this was the division between the two rooms,
Yes,
right?
this was the division between the two rooms.
I
Yes.
see.
This is also a room that, a divider that was put here after the private home happened to make it more livable.
Well, it's a good thing the private owners didn't do any more than they did.
Yes, and this was a door. Another door was always two entrances, but they closed this one up. We will reopen it again.
Okay.
Original.
Where was the original entrance to the school?
Right here.
This one.
There's a platform of steps that was taken down because of the construction outside now. Then we go back.
Okay.
And then this one is the original entrance.
Okay. This right here?
Yeah, that's right here.
No, this one.
Yeah.
Can you open that up? Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Can I can work it.
Yeah, I think it's stable. It's stable.
So this is the stabilization that you're doing. Okay. And did you have a play yard or any kind of?
We played in the front and in the back. So the yard basically, except for the not concrete, but paved driveway, that hadn't always been here. The church did that when they bought it in 2013. In fact, the church was thinking about making the whole thing a parking lot, but then we discovered the historical value of the building.
That's wonderful.
Changed our mind.
Good.
And do you remember Jim Gardner? He was with, Ashley didn't know, but he was with in the horses.
What was his name?
Jim Gardner,
I didn't know.
because his family was the one that got this house. Right?
Yeah, it was Jake. That was Mr. Jake's son.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
I knew the older generation professional horse people that I knew were Rock James, who worked for Mrs. Carl,
right.
and Lloyd. They were good friends.
Right.
And I met Archie, but I'd never had a chance to talk to him. But I knew about Archie, and then I lived on Black Cat Road, and Sam Branch lived at the end of
Yeah.
it,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
and he was a manager, I believe.
Okay. Okay. And his wife worked at the Wheels also. I think.
Yeah, for
Miss
years.
Branch. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.